There's a building at the south end of Arlington, Ohio, that stood for over 100 years. Most people in town have a story about it. This is some of those stories. Arlington, Hancock County, 10 miles from Findlay, population 1,492. Before it was a memory, it was a building. Before it was a building, it was a bet, a small town's bet on its own future.
I don't think you know you're in a big moment until maybe you're out of it, and I think that's what our current students are going through.
The story of Arlington schools starts long before the building we know today. It starts in 1833 on the farm of Abel Tanner, a one-room schoolhouse, the first in all of Madison Township. By 1840, the community had built another, a log structure on Main Street. The students studied reading, writing, arithmetic, and the life of Washington. That was the beginning.
The school system is probably made up of a lot of one-room school systems. Very basic, probably chalkboards at the front of the building. In a lot of cases, you had children teaching children, but I think it was more of a practical education so that those students that got through college or got through the school system could function in a agricultural type society.
Over the next 2 decades, more schoolhouses came and went. In 1860, there was a 6-room frame building, 3 rooms above, 3 below. They called it the Sheep Pen. For over 60 years, it was where Arlington was educated. By 1921, the old wooden schoolhouse was condemned. The community voted on centralization. The vote carried. In 1923, ground was broken on a new school. Thomas McLaughlin of Lima, Ohio, designed it.
He was born in Oil City, Pennsylvania, and somehow got to Lima, Ohio. And at the time, I think the school system, the state of Ohio, had come up with some kind of basic standard design for school buildings. Because it was a standard design, they could get it built more quickly than if it was a custom design. And so I suppose they added their touches then on the outside of the building to, give it their signature design for their company.
The building cost $130,000, nearly $2.5 million in today's money. For a village this size, it was an enormous commitment. A student from the class of 1925, Helen Hossafrost, would later write, "Our junior year brought us a very pleasant sight. As we looked through the west windows of our faithful old schoolhouse, what should we see but preparations for a new building? September 8, 1924. We again trod the worn path to the schoolhouse to find a shiny new building awaiting us. We were not called by the loved tones of the old bell, but by a new gong. This hardly seemed natural. Our new building is fully equipped and up to date. We are glad for the new building, but we have not forgotten the old one, as we can still see where it once stood on its old stone foundation."
We're probably very lucky that we got the building built when we did. Starting in 1914, World War I started. And during that World War I, there was also accompanied by the Spanish flu, so there was a pandemic that we had to deal with. And in 1920, the economy had a tick upwards, and it was pretty good until 1929 when the Great Depression hit. So if we would have been too early with the project, it might have got not done, and if it was too late, got near or after the Great Depression, it might have not got done. So we were very fortunate that the founding fathers, maybe by luck or maybe by planning, picked the time that they did to promote the building and get it built.
The people who built this school are gone now, but a few people still carry what was passed down.
My dad was on the school board, and he always felt that the school was the most important business in town. And he always said that if the school needs money, make sure that you're looking at them and taking care of them. When I came in the 4th grade, I was on the 2nd floor, Mrs. Loader's room, Frances Loader, and across the hall was Helen Hudson, and they put me on the piano bench in Helen Hudson's room in front of all the kids, looking at me, my first day of school. And back then they had a piano bench because they had a piano because the teachers all taught their own music back then. So anyways, I can remember that as my first day.
The building would grow over multiple decades. The dates and the dollars tell you what was built. The people tell you why it mattered.
One thing comes to me and is our cafeteria back in the time I was in school was below the auditorium that's behind me. It was different in that, and I've told people this, there was a wooden floor. And the reason there was a wooden floor in the cafeteria because it used to be the old gym floor because the auditorium wasn't there. And the gym was in the middle of the building. And I do remember that. And I remember that we had, our milk came in glass bottles with little plugs you pulled out the top. And I can imagine if those glass bottles fell on the tile floors today, they just shattered. But on the wood, they survived a lot of times. But I do remember that as something that was special about this school. And I became a teacher in about 2006 and 2007 at this school in the same classroom that I started school, 4th grade.
Terry Koobs was an assistant principal in Columbus when she first drove through Arlington. She took one look at the school and knew.
Our son was at Ohio Northern, going to college there, but he coached for Ada's junior high program. He coached basketball. When he was playing Riverdale, we drove up through Arlington, turned at Fred's, and headed over towards Riverdale. And when we passed the high school, I said to Kip, Cody's dad, I said, that's a school I want to be in. And we drove by it again on our way home. And when I got home, I told my principal, Sam, I said, I drove by the perfect school last night. And about a month later, he walked by my office and said, hey, Koobs, that perfect building, they're looking for a principal. You need to apply. Well, then I applied and I met Dave Rossman. It was driving by, and then it was Dave Rossman that he was the hook that really reeled me in, yeah. Kevin Hott was the elementary principal, and he and I hit it off right away. And Lee Anderson had left the building in perfect shape. Lee was the principal before me. He had done a stellar job. He had assembled a staff that was the best in the state. I used to tell people, I'll put my staff up against anybody in Ohio. I'll put my staff up against anybody in the country. That's what I walked into. I walked into thinking, how did I land here? I remember the day we covered the grain. The grain had gotten so high at the elevator that the elevator paid the senior class to come tarp it. And so we had spotters all around the bottom, and there were kids that literally pulled the tarp up the corn, the corn that is so dangerous, but they had somebody spotting them. And we had a lot of adults there. And when we were just about done, in rolls these senior parents with grills to cook lunch for all of us. That was 21 years ago, and I can remember it like it was yesterday. I saw potential in every kid, and I think I treated them like I see more of you than you do. I think you have more potential than you do. Now, come up to where I think you are. They are not the next generation. They are the now generation. And they were when I was here at Arlington. They were the now generation. 2012 was when our girls won the state in basketball. And we knew they were going to be in the Final Four. There was no debate about it. So we always took our New York City trip between basketball season and track and baseball and softball. And all the coaches knew those seniors were mine. And they weren't on their team, they were mine. Well, I had adjusted when we were going based on the girls going to state. And Jake Leonard and Thane Recker walked into my office as juniors. And they sat down and they said, Mrs. Koobs, we imagine that you've moved our New York City trip back a week for the girls going to state. And I said, yeah, I have. And they said, well, you need to move it back one more week because we're going to state too. And I don't remember anybody saying that before those two boys did. But I can see them walking out of my office and I'm thinking, okay, if they think they're going to state, then we'll move the trip back. And we went to state. The boys went to state. And it was good that I had moved the trip back. And I looked really smart for moving the trip back, but it was Thane and Jake that had me move the trip back. One tradition, when we started going to New York City, the first year I got a puzzle of New York City. And I put a table outside my office with the puzzle on it, and I didn't say anything. And eventually, the seniors picked up that that was for them to be building. So when they would finish one puzzle, I would get a table out and I would have another puzzle waiting on them. And no underclassmen ever sat down at the tables. It was like hollowed ground. And I remember Dave Sorensen walking into my office one day and he said, I think I've figured you out. It's not about building the puzzle. It's about who's sitting together to do it. And I said, exactly, Dave, because these kids are graduating and they may not have this kind of opportunity again. And it's about who's sitting together and who's talking while they're building a puzzle. So I think that was a tradition too. Yeah.
Ron Cable directed the Arlington Band for 31 years. Every student who passed through the school went through his classroom. He had them all.
I was the band director here for 31 years, the music teacher for 31 years, junior high to through high school. So I actually had every student in required 7th and 8th grade music. I was here 31 years, and Bill Businger was the voice of the All Brass Band for 30 years. And we started the All Brass in 1968-69. I went to the board and to the band parents and asked them if what they thought about having an all brass band for football season and in the summer, and then concert band. And that was what really put the Arlington school and the community on the map, was the all brass band. And the rest is history. It really is. When you have 42% of the students in high school in the band, one year we had 50. We had 50% of the high school kids were in the band. And what do I contribute that to? I don't know. The national average then, I don't know what it is today, but was 4%. That's where the community gets involved. You want to be in the band. No, I don't. Yeah, you do. So, I don't know. It was just the enthusiasm that the band showed. You know, people would say, your band. And I'd say, no, it's not my band. I may be the facilitator, the director, but you couldn't do it without the community follow-up. When we started song flute, flutophone, song recorders in the 4th grade, I had one little boy said, Mr. Cable, I'm not going to be in the band because band is for sissies. The next time we met, I had 3 senior athletes from the football team. And I introduced who they were, and I said, "What's special about you 3 fellows?" And they said, "We're in the band, and we'd like to know who in here called us sissies." That was it. Nobody said a word. But that young man joined band and was in it for all 8 years.
Every morning I get to open the door and interact with the kids, the teachers, the parents. It's a busy place, especially in the mornings. I'm blessed to have my children up there with me. They come with me every morning, so that adds extra fun. So I feel like I'm in a pretty unique position at Arlington where I get to participate and dabble in every position. So some days I am the principal, some days I'm the nurse, some days I'm the custodian, some days I'm a teacher, some days I'm the counselor. So it's nice that I get to vary my role day to day of what I get to do and who I get to interact with. I think overall everybody is very flexible, so it's easy to fall into these different positions to help out where I can. Right by my desk is the old bell system, which every hour or so does a consistent ticking noise that when people come, they're not used to that and they don't know what it is. Like, what is that ticking? And I don't even hear it anymore. I just ignore it. I'll look forward to no more ticking at the new school.
So they hired me to teach junior high math and English. And I was in the 2nd grade classroom in the hallway right out here. It was the 2nd grade room that I had when I went to school here, but there was nowhere to put us, so they put us there right beside the 1st grade. My classroom at first was very bare, and then I like to bring in plants and posters and all kinds of things, and the kids liked that too. I think I put curtains up. I was the first teacher to ever put curtains up in the building, just because I thought if I spend so much time here, I want the kids to feel comfortable too. So that's sort of what I had in my room. Don't think I will ever forget when I moved to high school. Mr. Coletta, who was our superintendent, came in. He had all the office people with him, and he had the school board members with him, and they came in my freshman history class. And all of a sudden, outside my window, up came the lift, and on there is Mr. Rose, our janitor, and he had a sign, and he held it up, and it said, "You're fired," and he had a pink slip in his hand, and all these people were in my room, and I'm thinking, I'm fired, I'm done. But it was all programmed by Mr. Coletta, because there were several of us that played some pranks on him a lot, and so he got me back by that, and it was I couldn't believe what they did, but they got me good. That's one thing I'll always remember.
I grew up in Williamstown, right outside of Arlington, and I joined the school when I was in 1st grade. Became a singer, got to do some pretty exciting things, but all of those kind of took root here, because I had amazing music teachers in Mrs. Boos, and I had Mr. Cable for I think 1 year, and then I had Mr. Davis. The adults in the community believed in me, cared for me, invested in me long term. From 1st grade through my senior year of high school, being well known and cared for above and beyond. The community was supportive of each other. Churches in the community supported the school. Teachers in the community or teachers in the school knew that my family had some financial hardship, and they helped us. What I take away from my experience here was community.
I look back at my kindergarten classroom, and I know that my dad was in that same very kindergarten classroom. And now I look at my own children were in that same very kindergarten classroom. So I think that's a unique generational thing that Arlington has, where I know a lot of you out there feel that very same way, that you can look back in that classroom and think, that's where I was in kindergarten, that's where my dad was, that's where my cousins were.
Some of my favorite memories as a student were marching up and down the hallways, getting so out of breath, going up to the 3rd floor and down. Also, powder puff, on the field we got to experience like the Friday Night Lights effect. The bandathon, the 24-hour playing of instruments where we took over the auditorium and the old gym and the smorgasbord. Lots of Arts Fest performances and Arts Fest artwork in the old gym. Just annual events that everybody was welcome to and expected every year. And those events will still continue, but this school has a special place and holds a lot of memories, and those are some of my favorite.
Here, I never felt alone. And every time I return here, when I see someone that I went to school with, you pick up right where you left off. There's no downtime, there's no lag time. It's as if you're still in school together and you know that person from sitting in social studies or marching in the band together or singing in the choir together. You still know each other. Some of my friends, I see their kids and I am amazed at how I'm transported back to our friendships when we were little, because they look just like their mom or dad did when I went to school with them. And that just reminds me how I knew them really well and they knew me really well. And that community feeling was really a beautiful one, a gift.
There were a lot of kids over the years. I mean, even in Little Arlington, it's hard to believe, but there were a lot of kids like that. There's one in particular that came into my classroom as a freshman when I started teaching high school, who was very withdrawn, very non-social, but smart, so smart, but didn't want anybody to know it. And I sort of latched on to her, and her mother passed away right after she graduated from cancer, and we had a connection all through high school from that. And she calls me her second mom now, and she has just blossomed and is doing wonderful. She was an only child, but just seeing her the way she was as a freshman to what she is today is just phenomenal. She's just very outgoing, and so she was one of my ones I will always remember.
I like being in the school, knowing that my old elementary and junior high teachers are still currently working in that building. So it's full circle that I had them as a young child. They were my teachers, and now I'm an adult and I get to work with them on that level as being an adult. And now I'm in this position I'm in, and then I hope years to come they'll be able to look back and say, I was still in there when Betsy was in there.
They're never going to remember using the payphone on the 3rd floor. Everybody, after practice, went upstairs and called their mom, and you didn't let it ring the whole time, so they would come and pick you up, so you all used the same dime or quarter. It went up to a quarter by the end, I think, and you just hand it back to the next person, and that's, kids today are like on their cell phones, don't even think about it. So those are things I'm going to miss. They're just good memories that kids today are like, what? So, anyway.
For decades, the building held, but time doesn't make exceptions.
The building has been very good to us, but it has its challenges. There are issues with heating and cooling. We've had some plumbing. So while she's been very good to us, she's getting tired, and so we're excited to move on to something that's more fitting, that's going to grow with our students. We've had teachers this year had to relocate classrooms because of leaks. We've had teachers that are on the 3rd floor teaching on 80-degree days. There's a lot of extension cords and outlets, and there are, like I said, some plumbing issues, but we persevere and work through it. And like I said, there's a lot of credit that needs to go to our teaching staff to make sure that the students are getting the best every day, no matter what building we're in.
On the outside, on the things that people could see, the building was very well taken care of. We had great folks maintaining this building, but the things that were tough to see were the electrical pieces. We still have screw-in fuses, if you're familiar with those. We still had pipe work plumbing work that was running through concrete or through terrazzo that was deteriorating. And so we'd have a lot of things that were backing up in the restrooms. We might have an issue. We've had a few issues actually out in the alleyway where things weren't flowing like they should and it backed up into the alley. Of course, you have to call folks in to help us take care of that kind of stuff. So those were the things we were starting to see slowly. The building was just not able to keep up. It was tough to educate kids in a 21st century environment in a building that wasn't up to doing that. The plumbing was the biggest issue. Restrooms would break. We'd have to get into the chases and try and fix things, add pipe, take pipe out, remove fixtures. The plumbing in the cafeteria, we had some issues with the dishwasher. So a lot of those things, trying to get everything to flow and work right was really becoming a challenge. And we were spending a lot of money and time on trying to make sure all of those pieces were up and functioning.
We couldn't do with technology what we needed for kids. It just couldn't handle that. So when we started doing state testing and all of that stuff, you had to work around a lot because of the lack of technology that we could use. You know, we celebrated getting a smart board, but what was that smart board draining from another resource because of the age of the building? When the building was built, all this stuff wasn't here.
So our first levy for the new building started in 2008. Actually 2007, we had another one in 2008, 10 and 11. We had 4 that we didn't pass. In 2013, we had another one ready for the ballot that we pulled off the ballot because the money was going to be, the money we would have gotten from the community would have been less than we could have used to build the building. The building was more expensive already. It was moving that quickly. And so that was where we started this many years ago. And then the board decided we're going to take a break. We're going to get our house in order, make sure our finances are ready. In that time frame, we purchased some land, as you know, to the west of our school district. And that's the land we are currently using to build a new building. So just west of here, we go past the football field and past the new track, baseball, softball field. That's where the new schools sit on 35 acres that the board bought about 10 or 12 years ago. The first few levies we know we didn't pass. This last attempt, we had I think it was 72% of the voters turned out, and the issue passed by 61%, which is a pretty substantial group of folks that came out and supported that. So I think everybody was supportive. I think they started to see it was time that this building was really not doing what we wanted it to do to educate our kids and to have a great experience for our kids.
People don't keep their same car they had back in 1966. They upgrade. And farmers upgrade their equipment. And they're now using GPS and farming equipment. In our school, I just kept seeing John Iniger and Dennis Beard fixing stuff. And I said, it's time. And a lot of people thought the same way I did, that we need to catch up with the times. And it was time to do it.
I mean, it's going to be, when it starts to come down, I think it's going to be emotional, it's going to be tough. But I think once we're in the new building, people are going to appreciate what we have over there.
And maybe a little emotional moment for me was watching the press box come down. We pulled into church one Sunday morning and the crane was there starting to take it down. And it was just for me kind of an ending of an era.
Once the decision was made, the math stopped mattering. What was left was the feeling.
When I got to the city limits, there was a lump in my throat, but a good lump. You know, I left here with wonderful memories and wonderful friends, and I'm just so blessed for the years I had here.
There's nothing like coming home to a place like this. I saw one of my classmates in the hallway, and I burst out in tears, and I hugged him, and I said, "You're home to me, you're home." And he said, it's good, it's okay, you know. Just, you know, seeing him is like, it's incredible.
The building houses collective memories for everybody. And we had an alumni event where alumni could go through and take a final tour through the building and also reminisce and share their stories. And that's what the building is, it's full of stories. So this place is special because the people are special. Arlington is special.
It's strange, the things that get you. Not the big moments, the small ones. the way the light came through a certain window, the sound the front door made.
One nostalgic piece for me are the wooden banisters that are along the stairwells. The kids that have used them going to and from classes, the generations that have used them, it just really tells a story. And because our new building's all one level, we won't have anything like that. And so I think those wooden banisters for me are something that I'm going to miss, that really speak to the age of this building.
Instead of thinking, small town, I want to get out of here, I am beautifully reminded of how valuable this experience was.
It was a blessing and it's a heartache too, both. Because, I love this job, I love the kids, and it was very hard to walk away from that.
And as long as that building is here and you see the building, it immediately triggers memories that you had, good ones and bad ones. And when that building is gone, perhaps those memories will start to fade.
Even when this building is torn down, we'll always stand tall inside of us. We are Arlington, right? We are the community. We are this building.
In 2014, the school named its auditorium after its longtime band director. In a few months, it won't exist anymore.
I guess I felt undeserving of that, but it's there, and every kid and parent that I had should be on there. You throw a pebble in a pond, and it makes ripples and then disappears. And that's basically what I feel. You leave what you have when you're there, and you touch the lives of a lot of people, and then you're gone. And in a month, the auditorium will be no more. And this whole school will be gone. And all you have is memories.
But Arlington had been here before. In 1860, they built a wooden schoolhouse. In 1923, they tore it down and built this one. And nobody remembers the grief. They remember what came next.
Just west of here, we go past the football field and past the new track, baseball, softball field. That's where the new schools sit. It'll be renamed. We've got a new address already over there, 1 Red Devil Way, which is kind of cool for folks. So the building itself was in the neighborhood of about $38 million. And then, as you know, we added on an athletic project, which encompassed a brand new track, new baseball, new softball, renovations to the football field with a concession stand and restrooms. And then we were adding an additional locker room here on what is going to be called the Main Street Gym. Everybody probably knows it as the 92 gym. But we added a football locker room, and then junior high athletics and football will stay over here in this building. So total project, we're in the neighborhood of about $55 million for everything that we did on the project. One of the things we talked about right out of the gate was we wanted it to face the center of town. We wanted the front of the building to face the center of town. We wanted that to feel like it was welcoming everybody in. This was a community building, a community event, and we wanted everybody to feel welcome here. So that was really one of the non-negotiables. And the other was we were doing a one-story. No more stairs, no more elevator, those kinds of things. So the design was to be one story with all of the things like art, music, whether it's instrumental, vocal, gymnasium, the auditorium, cafeteria, all those things in the center of the building. They would be centralized to do those things. First day of school this year, September 8th. So Labor Day's late this year. So September 8th is the first day of school in the new building. I think one of the neat things that we're going to have over in the new building that people probably aren't aware of quite yet is we're going to have this space where we're going to have an 86-inch digital board, and we're going to have all the yearbooks will be digitized, so you can look back through the 1900 yearbooks all the way through present yearbooks. But surrounding that, we'll have all kinds of memorabilia. The hope is a couple of auditorium chairs, some of the signage from around the building, an old jacket, Letterman coat, those kinds of things, so people can feel connected to, hey, this isn't where I went to school, but this is still the community I went to school in. I think that's going to be really something that we hope people will grab onto and say, I still feel connected. 100 years from now, when they're talking about what's the next thing that comes to Arlington, they'll have those pieces available, and now we'll have 200 years of history.
I was blessed today to go into the new building, and oh my gosh, and kudos to this community that said, we want this for our children. Kudos to the board and the community and Mr. Hott that said, we're going to do it all while we're doing it now, and we're going to give our kids what they deserve.
I cannot wait for them to go in and see everything that has been built for them and to know that they deserve it, that they are worth it. And I hope they know that they are loved and the community cares. They care about the kids and education. Sorry, I got emotional there.
I want people to still feel like this is still home. Okay, it's a new building, but it's still Arlington.
We're not leaving the history here. We're not leaving those stories here. We're carrying them forward, and we're also adding to the history.
I get to be in the old building in that position, and I'm also going to get to be in the new building. And hopefully then it'll carry on for years to come, and that same generational pride and love and our community will still carry on the same way it will at the new school.
I think that that's incredible, that the legacies that will continue. It's just a new chapter. It's just a new phase of our story.
But I hope people will be appreciative of the time and energy that a lot of people in this community put into this project, that this served our students well, it served our community well, and it's still standing at 100 years. I think we tried to do the best we could to make it the best we could for our kids, and I feel really good about that.
The building never graduated. The building never retired. It just kept showing up. Every September, every snow day, every first day, and every last day, for over 100 years. And now, after giving everything it had, Arlington's most faithful servant is finally retiring.
For some it's just a building, for others it's our home, a school for the generations, and now its time has come. Every year we walked your halls, you stood proud, you stood tall. More than a goodbye, my old friend, thank you from everyone in Arlington. Oh, what a special place, the stories these halls could tell. A quiet servant, an unsung hero until the last and final bell. For some it's just a building, For others it's our home, a school for the generations. And now its time has come. Every year we walked your halls. You stood proud, you stood tall. More than a goodbye, my old friend. Thank you from everyone in Arlington. From the bottom of our hearts, we will never forget where memories were made, where friends first met. From Arts Fest to prom, the graduations, the games, exams and awards, the concerts and class plays. For some it's just a building, for others it's our home, a school for the generations. And now its time has come. Every year we walked your halls. You stood proud, you stood tall. More than a goodbye, my old friend. Thank you from everyone in Arlington. For some it's just a building, for others it's our home, a school for the generations. And now its time has come. Every year we walked your halls. You stood proud, you stood tall. More than a goodbye, my old friend. Thank you from everyone in Arlington.